Welcome to Save News Podcast.
I'm Chantel Colwill.
And I'm Cassandra Anderson.
Today we have two guest speakers, Michelle Arvizu,
Television film actress and producer of the short film One Small Village.
and Nadia George, a Canadian television film actress.
They are with us to talk about how the movie industry is being shaped by streaming services.
Nadia, we'll start with you. Can you please explain to us what the process is when you were receiving your award?
So the process is different depending on the organization that is hosting the award. So it can be a jury award, it can be a People's Choice Award. So jury means that there is actually a jury panel. They review all the films, there is criteria that needs to be met, and they come together to make that decision. In regards to a person's choice award or audience favorite, that's more people who are going in to see the films, and they're kind of just making it based on whether or not they liked it and what they loved about it. So it just really depends on the award that you're getting and kind of how that's being looked at. The award that I received was a jury award. It was nerve-wracking because I actually didn't find out until I got there to the award ceremony. The film had actually been nominated for Best Short Film. So we were there supporting that in Los Angeles. And I was actually in the middle of eating a salad when I heard my name being called. And I actually think maybe that had been better because I have been nominated for other awards outside of my film career. And it is nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking to wonder, like, okay, who else has been nominated? You never know the exact criteria. You don't know generally who is like looking at it all, overseeing it. You might get a couple names on a website of showing a few of the jury people, but you still don't know. You don't know what kind of things they're looking for and also what kind of unconscious biases they also have. Film critics are really, really difficult to please sometimes. So it makes it hard.
Michelle, how do you find that streaming services have changed the landscape of television and film?
The way that the streaming platforms have changed the landscape is quite significant, both on both sides of the product, right? To produce it and then to consume it. So what has happened is that advertisement has had to make up for it because now people are not watching commercials as much as before, right? And it has affected, again, both as a producer and as an actor, all aspects of the journey of creating content. The fact that now the studios don't have the monopoly of what is shown and what gets produced and what gets greenlit has created, in a lot of ways, a lot more opportunity for smaller, more independent production companies to come into the scene. But that was at the beginning of it. So 10 years ago, it was like the perfect time to make anything happen. And the platforms were starving to not only distribute content, but actually create their own. And so they have replaced a lot of the traffic of the studios and the networks. Now the competition has gotten so fierce that we have almost like a reverse of it. And so they have just become like any other studio or any other network. So the qualifications for something to be nominated for one award or another, well, the numbers are so much higher that then the chances are a lot slimmer.
Michelle, would you mind explaining to us how the experience was for you when receiving an award for your short film?
The short film that my production company produced and shot last October was a year and a half ago. Because we won LA Short Film Festival, we had the qualification to be considered for an Oscar. And so, but then the pool became so much bigger just because of the distribution globally is massive now, right? And so that has affected, like I said, the traffic of the amount of stuff that is to be considered.
It's because there's so much out there and there is so many different streaming platforms and things like that. Are some films or shows being left on the wayside because of that?
I would say probably we can see both things happening, and it is always also depending on what award show you're talking about. Because so one thing is film festivals, the process of applying to them and being considered for them hasn't changed that much. Again, the difference is just the sheer number of available titles, right? But then there are award shows that are very political in how they run. And something that we were surprised to learn is how much having a title in the running is pretty much like a political campaign. Like you have to have a PR person that is dedicated, that has experience with award shows and awards in general, because it's a very different kind of promotion. Even just how to get your film to be seen by the people that have the decision power is such a very specific journey, and it requires specialized people.
Is it like how many people are watching something in order to be able to figure out which one is the best top 5 movies then?
It's so interesting because viewership. Okay, so there are two factors in terms of the consumption of something, right? Where viewership plays a role, and that is box office and then ratings. And ratings used to be exclusively for television content, and box office was actually how many tickets, how many pair of eyes did we put in front of this movie at the theaters. So that has not entirely changed. It's just that the amount is now exorbitant. Like we can't even fathom how many eyes are in front of content through the platforms, even though it is trackable and they are tracing it. And a lot of things have changed in terms of, again, the rhythm of consumption, right? That's also why even the platforms now are doing limited releases. So they will release the first 3 episodes of a show first, and then they will make you wait for the next week to show you the next one. So they get you hooked, but you can't binge the whole thing. You have to still wait until next week. So they have adjusted that, which they weren't doing.
Well, ladies, we have come to the end of time for this episode.
Thank you both so much for joining us today. Nadia George, Canadian actress and for film and television.
And Michelle Arvizu, film, television actress, and film producer. Thank you for being here.
For Say News Podcast, I'm Chantel Colwill.
And I'm Cassandra Anderson.